Hello everyone, thanks to the Open Banking Week team for opening this space for Colombia FinTech. Colombia FinTech is the chamber of financial technology companies that works for promoting the FinTech ecosystem. As you already heard, my name is Juliana CArmona and I am the COO in Colombia FinTech in this chamber, and I am honored to present or introduce this panel that we have called Open Finance in Iberoamerica, in which we are going to share with you different perspectives about open finance, open banking as a trend in financial services. As well, we are going to share with you good practices and some offer in open banking solutions. Before I present the real speakers of this space, I want to show you the one-pager of the FinTech ecosystem in Colombia and tell you about briefly about the regulation in open banking in this country as well. So please give me 1 second and I share with you my screen. I think I'm done. So Colombia is the third FinTech economy in the region in Latin America after Brazil and after Mexico. And we have the higher appropriation index in the region in Latin America as well. That means that 76% of the active digital population use FinTech solutions. We have in Colombia 322 FinTech companies that are distributed in 9 verticals or subsectors. The main subsectors are digital lending with a participation of 30%. In second place, we have payments with a participation of 26%. And we have in third place business finance with a participation of 13%. We have other verticals with small percentages that are crypto and blockchain, neobanking, personal finance management, InsurTech, crowdfunding, RegTech, those are the 9 verticals that we have in this country. The Colombian FinTech industry generates more than 9,000 of jobs in this country and sales 530 million American dollars. This is a very young industry actually, because the average age of FinTech companies in this country is 7 years. So, what is happening in Colombia regarding open banking? Colombia is working on an open banking regulation that will be ready in 2022 and plans to start incorporating massive savings and credit products to the API architecture. The Ministry of Finance, or maybe more coming to you, Ministry of Economics, proposes a voluntary implementation model. That means that it's not going to be mandatory for now. The plan for the second half of 2021 includes preparing the necessary regulation for implementation in addition to promote the use of the sandbox. Actually, in Colombia, we are using sandbox as a tool in innovation in one of the verticals, that is crypto and blockchain. We have challenges, we have, of course, issues for the implementation of standards in open banking. They are resistance from actors in the financial innovation ecosystem, data privacy, of course, and we have a limited offer in open finance solutions that suppose an opportunity for the foreign companies to come to Colombia, to establish in Colombia for soft landing. So finally, I am presenting the real speakers, and we have the first speakers is Pablo Viguera. Pablo Viguera is the co-founder and co-CEO in Belbo. Belbo is a Spanish company that has a strong solutions in open finance. We have in second place Paolo of Fidanza. He is from Italy and he is the CEO and co-founder in MO Technologies. MO Technologies has presence in 8 countries in Latin America. And we have as a third speaker, Alejandro Pinzon. Alejandro Pinzon is from Colombia. He leads a Colombian company. The name of this company is Druo, and they are developing very interesting solutions in open banking. So please go ahead, Pablo.
Sí, hola Juliana, mil gracias por invitarnos aquí y también dar las gracias a Colombia FinTech y a Open Banking Week por incluirnos en esta conversación. Sobre tu pregunta, yo lo podemos dividir en tres, ¿no? Un poco, uno yo creo que sería un poco hablar de retos, otro es un poco hablar de oportunidades y perspectivas para la región y la otra un poco de tendencias, ¿no? Para dar una perspectiva así de conjunto. Ya veo un poco los retos principales a los que se enfrenta Open Finance, ¿no? Y de cara al impacto que puede tener en los servicios financieros digitales. Por un lado está la colaboración entre los agentes, ¿no? Entre los innovadores, los incumbentes, los reguladores, ¿no? Evidentemente, Open Finance es un movimiento que está centrado en el usuario y si no hay colaboración es difícil que salga adelante, ¿no? En beneficio del consumidor. Y esta colaboración pasa por un proceso de educación importante, ¿no? Educación por parte de todos estos agentes, ¿no? Entonces, ese es también uno de los retos importantes, el de la educación y el de encaminar hacia guiar y hacia evangelizar a los usuarios sobre qué es esto del Open Finance en los diferentes países de la región, ¿no? Y luego también otro de los retos principales que nosotros vemos es cómo se armoniza Open Finance entre países, ¿no? Es decir, cómo se hace que pues lo que se aplique como Open Finance en Colombia sea igual que en México, sea igual que en Brasil, sobre todo para dar una cierta como seguridad o un marco de juego pues único para todos los operadores, ¿no? Que muchas veces, pues, ya sea los bancos, ya sea las fintechs, pues tienen operaciones en más de un país, ¿no? Luego, pasando un poco al segundo punto, que es, te diría, las oportunidades, ¿no? y las perspectivas de Open Finance para Latinoamérica, yo creo que realmente estamos en una situación idónea, ¿no? Es decir, Open Banking pues, va a reequilibrar el mercado financiero en Latinoamérica, o ya lo está reequilibrando en favor de los usuarios, ¿no? A través del acceso libre a los datos. Y eso, te digo que es una situación idónea porque en Latinoamérica, en todos los países, pocos bancos controlan mucho el mercado, ¿no? Lo cual induce pues, a poca competencia, a pues, servicios no del todo adecuados, productos antiguos, precios desorbitados en todos los productos. Y eso es algo que hace que sea una situación idónea, ¿no? La innovación en Open Finance. Y luego, por otro lado, tenemos el crecimiento imparable de FinTech, ¿no? Y su adopción, ¿no? O sea, en Latinoamérica hay más de 2.000 FinTechs, creciendo a más de un 40% año sobre año, más de 2.000 millones de dólares en financiación yendo hacia FinTech, también creciendo pues casi 10 veces con respecto al año 2017 en 3 o 4 años. Entonces, también eso hace que sea un cóctel pues realmente súper propicio de innovación, ¿no? Y luego también otra oportunidad importante es todo lo que significa Open Finance por encima de lo que comúnmente conocemos como Open Banking, ¿no? Open Banking es conectividad a datos bancarios, Open Finance se trata de mayor inclusión, meter a gente en la rueda del dinero, toda esa información que no está en los bancos, pero que es información financiera, puede ser procesada y puede ser interpretada y usada para dar mejores servicios financieros, ¿no? Eso es una oportunidad extremadamente grande y Latinoamérica es una región en la cual, pues con las tasas de bancarización que tan bajas, pues hay una oportunidad muy grande. Y luego otra oportunidad muy importante del Open Finance en Latinoamérica es el generar mayor integración a nivel regional, ¿no? En Latinoamérica, ¿no? O sea, el poder llegar a un punto en el cual hablar de Open Finance o hablar de un proveedor de Open Finance o hablar de conectarte con Open Finance sea lo mismo que conectarte a un proveedor de cloud, ¿no? Que te conectas con AWS una vez y ya está. Vayas a escalar a Brasil, a Colombia, a Chile, a Perú, sea donde sea, ¿no? Es una oportunidad muy grande, hay mucho camino que recorrer ahí y es un poco también lo que nosotros tenemos como visión en Belvo, ¿no? Y por último, y rápidamente a nivel de tendencias que vemos nosotros en Belvo desde un poco el lado de Open Finance en los próximos años, pues existe un poco cómo van a coexistir un poco el entorno regulado y el entorno no regulado, ¿no? Sobre todo en la parte más de Open Banking, ¿no? En algunos países está más adelantado, como Brasil o como México, en otros, pues, no tanto. Y luego también otro componente, otra tendencia importante que vemos es que Open Finance no es solo un tema de fintechs y de bancos, sino que es un tema de innovadores. Nosotros siempre hablamos de innovadores financieros, porque también una cosa que vemos mucho en nuestro portafolio y en nuestros clientes es que cada vez hay más empresas tecnológicas que quieren ofrecer servicios financieros, ¿no? Y que quieren operar como si fueran fintechs sin serlo, ¿no? Y ahí un componente importante es el acceder a datos, es el interpretar datos, es el poder tomar decisiones sobre datos y en muchos casos también mover dinero, ¿no? Entonces, eso es una tendencia que vemos como bastante relevante en los próximos años, ¿no?
Bueno, Pablo, y ya para cerrar rápido, cuéntanos un poquito más sobre Velvo, qué productos están desarrollando y hacia dónde ustedes ven sus proyecciones de crecimiento y de creación de nuevos productos.
Sí, te diría, ¿no? Nosotros a día de hoy, un poco tal y como nos definimos, somos la plataforma de APIs Open Finance para Latinoamérica, ¿no? Y la manera más sencilla para que innovadores financieros se conecten e interpreten datos financieros de sus usuarios finales, de sus clientes finales, ¿no? A día de hoy estamos en 3 países, en México, en Brasil y en Colombia. Tenemos una conectividad, como te comentaba, ¿no? de Open Finance, o sea, conectamos con bancos, personas físicas, personas morales, conectamos con entidades fiscales, por ejemplo, el SAT en México, pronto la DIAN en Colombia, pronto la Reserva Federal en Brasil. Y luego también incluimos todo lo que son fuentes de datos alternativos que decimos nosotros, ¿no? Que pueden ser, pues, por ejemplo, fuentes de información de economía colaborativa, como puede ser Uber o Rappi, para poder entender una persona que no está bancarizada, pero que gana una nómina, por ejemplo, gana gana unos ingresos a través de esas plataformas, poder extraer esa información y poder dársela a compañías o a fintechs que están creando créditos para ese tipo de colectivos o productos de seguros, etcétera, etcétera. Y luego también tenemos una pata muy importante, lo que es enriquecimiento, ¿no? Que es un poco cómo damos insights sobre esos datos y cómo damos ese procesado, ¿no? Pues un producto que lanzamos hace unos meses muy relevante es la verificación de ingresos, o sea que a través de cualquiera de estas fuentes de información puedes directamente obtener un insight sobre cuánto gana una persona sin necesidad de procesar los datos en bruto, lo cual es algo que ha tenido una acogida muy, muy buena en el mercado. Y luego te diría que a nivel de producto, pues un poco nuestro roadmap o en lo que estamos enfocados va muy enfocado en eso, ¿no? En aumentar la cobertura que tenemos de instituciones de las que obtenemos información. Ahora estamos conectados con más de 40 fuentes de información. Nuestro objetivo para finales de año es aumentar a 80, o sea, casi duplicar. Luego queremos, como te decía, ¿no? O sea, ampliar y realmente redoblar nuestra apuesta sobre la parte de enriquecimiento e ir más allá de la verificación de ingresos, ¿no? O sea, poder dar insights sobre, pues bueno, cuál es el perfil que utiliza una persona, cuál es el perfil de gasto recurrente de una persona, cuál es la capacidad de repago de deuda de una persona, etcétera. Y luego el tercer pilar en la parte de producto es todo lo que es la parte de poder iniciar pagos también, ¿no? O sea, que Open Banking no es solo acceder a datos y interpretar datos, sino también es poder mover o tomar acciones sobre esos datos, ¿no? Que en muchos casos, hablando de fintechs o entidades financieras, es mover dinero, ¿no? Entonces, lanzaremos algo que tenemos en beta actualmente, que es toda la parte de iniciación de pagos banco a banco, y lo haremos en un primer momento en México y en Brasil, ¿no? Y luego, por terminar muy brevemente, a nivel de foco geográfico, estamos muy enfocados a día de hoy en México, en Brasil y en Colombia, ¿no? Entonces, a corto plazo seguiremos profundizando en esos mercados. Sí que es cierto que a medio plazo pues, tenemos mucho interés por parte de clientes y de prospectos de entrar en países como Perú, como Chile, como Argentina. Eso lo analizaremos. Y luego a nivel de equipo, ahora mismo somos unas 70 personas a día de hoy y el objetivo es duplicar el tamaño de la compañía, de personas en el equipo, particularmente enfocados en producto y en tecnología, ¿no? Entonces, ahí es un poco hacia dónde vamos en un futuro no muy lejano.
Hi everyone, thank you so much, Juliana. Pleasure to be here. Thanks to all the people attending the Open Banking Week, and a pleasure to be here with my fellow panelists. I am Paolo Fidanza. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Mo Technologies, a fintech focused on credit solutions based on machine learning and developing technologies that is used by financial institutions, service companies, and other fintechs to extend more credit and to manage credit product and data services between them and with the users and consumers. So today I would like to share a short presentation to indeed discuss how Mo is part of the ecosystem of open banking. So more on open banking. Well, obviously it goes without saying that we have a lot of passion for open banking. We think that open banking is the future of financial services, open banking, open finance. We believe that the principle that a user, consumer is the owner of his own transactional data, whether this data is hosted on a financial institution, a telecom company, a utility company, or another provider, the user has all the rights to transport this data across another location so they can get a better service or additional services. We think this is actually beneficial for financial institutions and telcos because it's going to open for them new revenue stream, new services, and access other segments that they were not able to access before. We've seen an incredible growth of open banking. This is driven mainly by the regulators. They've been putting in place the legal framework to allow the growth of open banking standards across the world. We see now efforts everywhere around the world to make the use of open banking as standard. We see a great benefit for the major financial institutions that have been able to adopt and have seen this as an opportunity, not for as a threat for competition, but as an opportunity to grow more services, give a better service to the user, and to enter into new market. Again, impressive growth in the open banking platform, over 50% or just in the first quarter in 2020, and we've seen by unofficial data a similar trend of growth growing into Q4 of 2020. So at Mo, we see a lot of use cases for open banking. The natural one I always refer to is being able to extend credit. Obviously, looking at history of transaction of a user, it powers and can power a much better credit scoring for the user than just looking at the credit bureau. We also saw amazing use cases on the personal finance. Financial education, money management is key to financial inclusion. So we saw that a lot of great use cases around the world of smart apps that have been enabling that. Payments, obviously, we see the use of open banking being a little bit what Facebook did with Facebook Connect, being able to not having to every time log in and create a new account, but enable payments, just sharing your banking credentials. And then obviously other services, insurance, trading. There's so many new cases coming out of the open banking and open finance protocol that are bringing a lot of benefits to the consumers. At Mo, we've decided to develop a modular solution, an end-to-end solution that can be consumed as a whole platform that enables to connect a data from a financial institution or a utility company to a user, a consumer, via a third-party application provider, but also individual modules that can be consumed either by the financial institution or by the third-party provider to integrate and fill gaps within the infrastructure and the requirements to have an open banking format. In our solution, we have a matching solution that allows to authenticate a user with a financial institution, not just with the most typical use, that is the login credentials for the online channels, but also using and opening the authentication to users that are not mobile app user for the institution, but they are users, for example, with a saving account. And so we can authenticate now these users by using the AID and the two-step authentication, for example, with an SMS to the phone number that is registered as part of the bank account. We then filter, normalize the data, and we then have a core. Our More Manage is an open banking core that allows to implement multiple policies. For example, it will allow a financial institution to set the rules when sharing this data. If there is a request from a third-party provider of a money app to access the data of a user, then the financial institution can share all the data set. As opposed to when the request is coming from another credit institution that wants to access the data of the user for a credit score, in this case, the institution can filter out the interest paid by the users as these being a proprietary information by the financial institution, as an example. So our core allows to implement multiple policies and within each transaction. Also, part of our platform is a KYC to comply with the rules in the local jurisdiction. And then we have a smart billing module. The smart billing allows to track all the type of transaction to implement, for example, a revenue share model between the operator or the open banking and the financial institutions. Finally, we have a value-added services. These value-added services permit to have machine learning modules that analyze all the transaction, the request, the type of users, the data shared, and feedback to the financial institution a range of insights that allow them to see how the users are using open banking and what benefits they're getting out of this. On the other side, we also offer to the third-party provider additional premium KPI that are based on analysis of the banking data in real time at the moment of download, so that they can also get additional value from this data and have very important additional insight that would allow them to offer a better service to the consumers via their app. All our solution obviously are API-based, cloud-based, and offer some major benefits. It is a modular solution that allows financial institutions to either consume the whole end-to-end or just a module filling the gaps within their infrastructure and the need in the open banking ecosystem. It's a collaborative platform. It allows to sync multiple institutions to create rules, for example, in which within this framework, financial institutions, regulated financial institutions sharing data between them can use this platform and have different rules than when sharing this with external third-party providers. It also allows and has built in a smart billing module that allows a revenue share, so that now the financial institution can also share part of the monetization process that is normally retained by the operator of these platforms and not shared with the institutions. It's a proven technology. More as strong history of working with financial institutions all over Latin America, and not only, also in the US and in Western Europe. So it's a proven technology by a proven provider of technology to financial institutions. And finally, the solution, the More solution not only includes all the modules necessary for open banking ecosystem, but also complemented by what we call value-added services. That is our machine learning predictive modules that present an additional benefit and insight both to the financial institutions, but also to the third-party providers that are consuming this data. So I just want to close with a little bit of our credentials. We have a range of patents issued in the US and internationally. for our machine learning platforms. We are part and very proud of being part of the MasterCard Start Path program, the MasterCard Engage program. We also are ISO certified, PCI certified, this to comply with the highest level of quality standards and security standards with financial institutions. And our partners infrastructure are Amazon Web Services and Google Cloud Platform. So again, I would like to thank for the opportunity today to give our opinion as more on open banking. So thank you, Juliana, again, and thank you to all the Open Banking Week attendants. I hope that you enjoyed this short presentation. I'll pass it now to the next panelist. Thank you again. Bye-bye.
Hi, everybody. My name is Alejandro, and I am the CEO and founder at Ibero. First of all, thanks to Juliana and the team at Colombia FinTech for inviting me to participate at this event. I'll start off by giving just a quick story about myself. I'm a four-time entrepreneur. I've been into the tech business for the past 13 years now. Love building products that make people's lives better. I've been fortunate enough to do this both in the US and the LATAM markets. And yeah, well, Ibero is a company specialized in open banking. Open banking is a very broad term. So to be more specific, we are a company, an open banking company specialized in payments processing. So we help companies move money faster, safer, and cheaper than existing payment methods. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about that later, but first I'd like to share with you a slide I've prepared to tell you a little bit about what we've seen in terms of the open banking context in the Americas, which is really the region that we are targeting as a company. So let me share my screen here. Okay, well, there we go. So I've split this analysis into three different verticals. The first one is adoption. We're seeing that in this regard, the US and Canada are leaders in terms of open banking implementations. We're seeing that it's becoming mainstream to connect, for users to connect their bank account into third-party services and have those third-party services run queries over their information and process that information, as well as run transactions through them. We've also seen that first adoption generates shock, but then bliss. So people at first are like, why do I have to provide my online banking credentials to log into a specific mobile app that I've just installed? So it creates a little bit of shock, but then when people see that it's a trusted service, that they're going to get something out of sharing that information, that the system is safe, then it generates an absolutely blissful experience from that point onward. So we've also seen that other countries have a long way to go before it's widely adopted. So we've seen some pilots in different countries, but it's not the same as the US and Canada. So there's many countries or the rest of the countries in LATAM still have some catching up to do in that regard. In terms of regulation, we haven't really seen an evident trend yet in terms of how open banking will be regulated in the Americas. We've seen that the US and Canada are ecosystems that are highly self-regulated. And by that, I mean that the players in the market kind of determine the rules and determine the conditions for providing that service. We've seen that other countries are still deciding what to do in terms of regulation, even in the absence of players. So Colombia is an example. There's actually been quite a few sessions and a big initiative in terms of how to regulate open banking. But it's kind of tough to regulate something that hasn't started yet. So in my opinion, I think that what happened in markets like the US allows the players to test, to experiment. So we'll have to see what the regulators for different countries will come up with, and hopefully it'll be something that provides enough flexibility for the ecosystem to build itself out and and stretch their wings and see how open banking can evolve in those markets. In terms of opportunity, the opportunity is huge. The first thing that I'd like to mention is the opportunity to improve the onboarding experience for digital services that currently exist. And by that, I mean all sorts of mobile applications, all sorts of financial services as well, such as lending use cases, for instance, have an extremely high potential in using open banking technologies. We also see the potential of building completely new services that are not available in different markets, just because the economics of it make it impossible. We're seeing mobile applications like Venmo in the US that thrive from being able to move money from one bank account to the other, but we see that those technologies are not available in different countries across the Americas. Well, that's something that we at Druo are working on to see how we can enable those same rails that companies like Venmo in the US use to provide their service. We want to enable those rails so that companies like Venmo can exist in other countries across the Americas. And the final opportunity that I'd like to mention is the opportunity to generate economic prosperity and financial inclusion. Because when people see value in having a bank account, when people see that they can get a better service, that they can have better lives, that they can run their businesses more efficiently, they will be going into the financial system easier than just providing marketing and lower fees. So that's a very important aspect in terms of the objectives of open banking. So now that I've told you a little bit about what we're doing at Druo, I want to share a little bit more about what we're doing at Druo particularly. Druo is the safest, easiest way to pay directly from a bank account. What we're doing at Druo is creating a technology that transforms traditional bank accounts into modern payment methods. So we partner with banks so that we can enable faster, safer, and cheaper payments from account A to account B. In this case, you can see it in the diagram here. We are able to transfer money from one account to the other for all sorts of use cases, for P2P payments, B2B payments, P2B, B2P. And we can do this faster, safer, and cheaper compared to credit cards and bank transfers. The result of our technology is a better customer experience and increased conversion for merchants, more or less a 50% reduction in payment processing costs, reduced churn and decline rates because bank accounts don't expire and are not able to clone them. And fourth, a substantial fraud reduction due to better ID verification. So the potential for using a technology like Druo is huge. We are currently launching our solution with several partner customers that are participating in the pilot program. We want to hear from you. We want to hear from all the builders out there wanting to build financial services, wanting to build mobile applications, or in general, any kind of service that could use our technology. We want to hear from you, and I want to invite you to go to druo.com. Just send us a quick message. We'd love to welcome you into the pilot program. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out directly as well. My email address is on screen, a.pinzon@druo.com. And thanks again for your time. Thanks, Juliana and Colombia FinTech again for inviting me to this event. And talk soon then. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Alejandro, Pablo, and Paolo, for accepting the invitation to this panel, and thanks for your valuable insights. And again, thanks to the Open Banking Week team for opening this space for Colombia. Until next time.